Good morning, students. So today let me discuss the next important element of principles of management, that is so called as Taylor's scientific management. And it is so called as Taylor's scientific management because this theory is rightly been developed by F.W. Taylor, and the full form of F.W. Taylor is the Frederick Winslow Taylor, the person who was born in 1856 and died on 21st March 1915, and he was most famous American mechanical engineer, and he was rightly been remembered because of his contribution of some important techniques called as time study, motion study, and differential piece wage system. And as he was one of the students at classical school, that is why he has expressed his opinions and thoughts on the management, and rightly he has developed his own principles which are so called as the scientific management. And the principles developed by F.W. Taylor is relevant to the present situation. And if you see any business organization, they have rightly adopted the principles so suggested by the F.W. Taylor. So this is the brief introduction of a well-known thinker called as F.W. Taylor. And as he is being well-known thinker, he has rightly developed his own principles, and also he has contributed some important techniques as a part of this scientific management theory. So let us discuss all those principles and techniques one by one. So looking to the principles, these are the four important principles which have been developed by F.W. Taylor. The first important principle is that science not a rule of thumb. What actually it is mean by science and not rule of thumb? So it is a combination of two important elements. One is the science and another one is the not rule of thumb. It means that whatever the principles developed by F.W. Taylor are not accepted as a rule of thumb. They are not being accepted in blind, but actually the principles suggested by him are going to act as science or the scientific methods, and these principles are going to be accepted by each and every business organization. And the reason behind acceptance is that the principles have truly been based on some important facts, and these principles are free from bias and prejudices. The principles suggested by F.W. Taylor are developed after deeper study as well as systematic analysis. That is why to the present context they have been accepted as the science or the scientific methods. To what extent the science is based on facts? To what extent the science is free from bias and prejudices, likely these principles. That is why the first important principle is science, not rule of thumb. And looking to the second principle, it is so called as harmony, not discard. It means that the principles suggested by F.W. Taylor, if they are going to create any kind of conflict of interest between the owner and the workers, they should be discarded. But the thing is that principles suggested have been adopted and implemented by the organization, and after implementation, what they have observed, what they have created is actually they brought harmonious relationship between the owner and the workers, as well as between the workers and the workers. And the harmonious relationship is very important because workers are the people who are going to play their major role in the success as well as the failure of the company, and they are the one who are going to achieve the objectives so decided by the top level management. And without taking them into vote of confidence, top level management cannot bring any kind of superior performance. That is why if they want to win the confidence, this kind of principles are so relevant. That is why they have to implement these principles in the business organization, and by after implementation they have to work done from the workers. That is why this is harmony and not discord. And looking to the third important principle, that is so called as cooperation, not individualism. Cooperation is one of the most important immaterial aspect which can be seen within the business organization. And after adopting this kind of principles, actually they have brought cooperation between the workers, between the various departments of the business organization, and because of that cooperation, a kind of coordination has been created, and because of the coordination, a kind of integration and organizing function has been taken place within the business organization. That is why coordination is one of the most important aspect. If there is a coordination, all the workers can work as a team, and company can set the group dynamics with respect to the employees. What are group dynamics? Group dynamics means these are the objectives which are not going to be fulfilled by each and every individuals. These are the objectives set by the top level management which are going to be created due to participation, commitment and efforts which are going to be put by each and every individuals as a team, as a group. That is why after implementation of this kind of a principle, actually it has led to the cooperation. And fourth important principle is that development of each and every person to his or her greatest efficiency and prosperity. So this is one of the important implication and outcome after implementation of these principles. Actually, what business organization have realized is, due to these principles, actually they have improved the efficiency, the work efficiency of the workers, and due to that efficiency there is a sudden improvement with respect to the work performance, and due to that improvement there is a increase in the productivity. When productivity is going to be increased, it is going to show good performance in favor of the employees. And when good performance is going to be observed by the employer, what employers are going to do? They are going to introduce some incentive schemes, some reward schemes, which are going to motivate the performance of the employees. That is why when reward system and incentive schemes have been introduced by the owners of the company, automatically it has brought some sort of prosperity, happiness in the minds of the workers. That is why today if you see, the workers are working enthusiastically for the success, so as to achieve the objective set by the top level management of the business organization. So these are the some important principles which are going to be suggested by F.W. Taylor. And looking to the principles, looking to the techniques, even he has most famous for introduction of this kind of techniques. What are those? One is functional foremanship. What is functional foremanship? Functional in the sense some of the important functions which are going to be performed by foreman. Foreman in the sense workers. And if you see the workers, they are not so called as the workers. Actually, they are termed as lowest level managers and highest level workers. What actually is mean by lowest level managers? Workers are the one who are working at the ground level as a manager. Manager in the sense they are working as a all-rounders, as well as they are highest level workers. Highest level workers in the sense, even though they cannot be seen in the top level management, but they are going to contribute to the efforts of the business organization. To that extent, they have been realized in these days. Why? Because top level management is a corporate body which are going to develop the plans. The planning activity is going to be rightly been developed by top level management. But the thing is that the implementation, the enforcement and execution of the plans is going to be actually made by the workers only. If you see the smooth flow of operations within the business organization, it is due to some of the effective functions which are going to be performed by the foremen or the workers. If you see, the each and every companies are achieving the objectives. They have brought effective performance, effective results. Now they are called to be as the success business organization only because of the fact that it is the major role which has been played by the workers of that respective business organization. That is what we mean as the functional foremanship. That is the first technique. And second thing is that standardization and simplification of work. What is standardization? Whatever the principles suggested by F.W. Taylor or the scientific methods, they are termed to be as standard methods only. Why? Because they are not the rule of thumb. They have not been accepted in blind. Actually, they are giving effective results. they have been developed and implemented after deeper study and analysis. To what extent the science is pure? Likely the principles which have been suggested by F.W. Taylor are also pure to the extent of they have been remained as standard methods only. That is what we mean as standardization. And simplification of work. Simplification of work in the sense the work is performed by the workers. It must be so simplified that worker should not face any kind of the difficulty. It should not create any kind of the confusions in the minds of workers so as to perform any kind of the work. If the work is simplified to that extent, automatically it is going to reduce the cost of the production and no kind of difficulty is going to be faced by any workers. That is what we mean as the simplification of work. And third important method is method study. Method study in the sense, actually the F.W. Taylor has made some inventions with respect to determine what are the important methods, what are the important means which are going to bring efficiency with respect to stages of production is concerned. Because so as to produce any kind of the product from the inception of procurement of raw materials until unless the product is going to be finalized, finally produced, many different stages can be seen. Actually, F.W. Taylor has contributed that these are the means which are going to be considered as effective means or the methods which are going to bring some sort of improvements with respect to mechanism of the production. That is why if you determine those methods and the means, they are going to increase the quality of the product and at the same time they are going to reduce the cost of the product also, and they are going to increase the productivity and efficiency of the workers. Those means and methods have been invented and contributed by none other than the F.W. Taylor. That is method study. And fourth thing is that the motion study. Motion study in the sense the study which has determined and identified motions. Motions in the sense movements. Why? Because when workers are going to perform any kind of work, they will express some movements. But if you observe all those movements, some movements are necessary movements as well as the useful movements. But some other movements are unnecessary. They are actually useless. But here F.W. Taylor has rightly been suggested that we are not speaking about the useful movements. We are focusing on the unnecessary movements. Because of unnecessary movements, the productivity and efficiency is going to be rightly been badly affected. You need to identify all those unnecessary movements, otherwise the cost of the product is going to be rightly being increased. That is what we mean as motion study. And fifth thing is that the time study. What is time study? It is the study which is made to determine the standard time to be taken by workers to perform certain work. That is what we mean as the time study. Why? Because if the standard time is once identified, actually the company can calculate how many workers are truly been required so as to perform any kind of work. That is one thing. And second thing is that they can calculate the labor cost so as to do this kind of a work. And third thing is that so as to bring the efficiency and so as to increase the productivity of the workers, even the owners can rightly introduce some of the effective incentive schemes in favor of the workers. That is why time study has been suggested by the F.W. Taylor. And sixth one is the fatigue study. Fatigue study. This study is made so as to identify fatigue of the workers. Fatigue means there is no rest at all. The workers are feeling physically as well as the mentally restless. To that extent, the work burden has been levied on the workers. But when the workers are going to give some sort of a rest, they can once again come up with the more stamina. They can work even effectively and they can take some sort of the interest so as to do any kind of the work. But the thing is that due to many causes, the fatigue has been created on the workers. And if you really see the causes of the fatigue, actually it is due to the long hours which are going to be involved by workers so as to perform any kind of the work. That is one of the causes, long hours. And second thing is that the bad working conditions. That is the second causes of the fatigue study. And third thing is that the unsuitable work has been assigned to perform to the workers. That is the third cause of the fatigue study. And fourth thing is that there is no cordial relationship with the workers as well as the boss of the organization. Actually, because of these causes and reasons, a kind of the fatigue, idleness, disinterest has been created in the minds of the workers. That has been come to know with the fatigue study. And last important technique is that differential piece wage system. Differential piece wage system has been invented by F.W. Taylor so as to differentiate efficient worker from the inefficient worker. Why? Because who is efficient worker? Efficient worker is a worker who is going to perform over and above the standard performance. Inefficient worker is the one who is going to underperform as compared to the standard performance. But here, who is most important for the business organization in the sense the efficient worker? He is the one who can bring effective results. He is the one who can give good performance with respect to the business organization. That is why, so as to identify the efficient worker, this kind of differential piece wage system has been introduced by the F.W. Taylor. And even what he has suggested is, if you want to take the best work, superior performance from the efficient worker, what you have to do is, you have to introduce effective incentive scheme and reward scheme in favor of all those efficient workers, because all those are the immaterial aspect which is going to motivate the efficient worker. Even he can bring superior performance with respect to the business organization. Even it has been suggested by the F.W. Taylor. That is why, to the present context of the business organization, whatever the principles, whatever the techniques which has been suggested by F.W. Taylor have become most relevant. Okay, please go through the slide. And with this, I am going to conclude the discussion. Thank you.